Right now, as you're watching this, a historic winter storm is assembling over North America. And here's what nobody's talking about. This isn't just another cold snap. We're looking at conditions that haven't aligned like this in over a decade. The question isn't if this will impact you. The question is, how prepared are you for what's coming in the next 72 hours? Stay with me, because at the 30-second mark, I'm revealing the 3 states that will be hit hardest, and one of them will shock you. 65 degrees below zero, that's not a typo. That's the actual wind chill forecast for parts of the northern plains this Thursday. To put that in perspective, exposed skin freezes in under 5 minutes at those temperatures. The National Weather Service is calling this life-threatening cold. And it's not staying up north. Here's where it gets critical. While this Arctic blast crashes southward, something unusual is happening in the Gulf of Mexico. Moisture levels are spiking to levels we typically don't see until spring. When that Gulf moisture collides with the Arctic air, we're not talking about a light dusting of snow. We're talking about a multi-day, multi-state shutdown. Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Nashville. These cities could see up to 12 inches of snow. Now, if you're from Minnesota, 12 inches might not sound alarming. But in the South, where snowplows are scarce and road treatment is minimal, 12 inches is catastrophic. And that's just the snow. Dallas and Shreveport are facing something far worse. Over 1 inch of freezing rain. 1 inch of ice might not sound like much, but let me paint you a picture. At 1/4 inch of ice, tree branches start snapping. Power lines begin failing. At 1/2 inch, entire neighborhoods go dark. At 1 inch, we're talking about infrastructure collapse, transmission towers buckling, major highways closed for days, emergency services unable to respond. And here's the twist that has meteorologists deeply concerned. This system isn't moving. Most winter storms sweep through in 24 to 36 hours. This one is forecast to stall, to sit in place for 3, possibly 4 days. Why does that matter? Because every hour that freezing rain falls, another layer of ice builds. Tree limbs that held strong for the first 6 hours give way at hour 12. Power grids that managed through day 1 fail on day 2. Now, you might be wondering, why is this happening? What's different about this storm? The answer lies in something called a blocking pattern. Think of it like a traffic jam in the atmosphere. A massive high-pressure system, measuring 1054 millibars, is parked over South Dakota. For reference, normal high pressure runs around 1020 to 1030. This is exceptionally strong. It's like a boulder in a river, forcing everything to flow around it. And that's exactly what it's doing, squeezing Arctic air southward while simultaneously blocking this winter storm from moving east. The storm has nowhere to go, so it sits and intensifies and dumps precipitation for days. Here's what's already in motion. Wednesday, a small Alberta clipper moves through the Midwest. Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit. You'll see 1 to 2 inches. Nothing major. Thursday is deceptively quiet. Most of the country sees dry conditions. But don't be fooled. Thursday is the calm before the storm. It's when that Arctic high pressure settles in. It's when temperatures in Minneapolis drop to 20 below zero, with wind chills approaching -65. And it's when the stage is set for Friday's main event. Friday morning starts innocuously enough, but by Friday afternoon, everything changes. Freezing rain begins in Oklahoma. Light snow develops in Kansas. And in North Texas, near Dallas and Fort Worth, the first ice pellets start falling around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. By Friday evening, the intensity ramps up dramatically. The European forecast model, which has been most consistent with this system, shows heavy freezing rain spreading from central Mississippi to Dallas to Amarillo, all through Friday night. Imagine this. You're in Dallas. Friday evening, you hear that distinctive sound, ice pellets hitting your windows. You check the forecast. Freezing rain all night, all day Saturday, possibly into Sunday. You realize your power might not last. Your pipes might freeze. Your elderly neighbor down the street, are they prepared? Do they have enough food? Medication? A way to stay warm if the heat goes out? Here's the 30-second reward I promised. The 3 states facing the most severe impacts are Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. But here's the shocker. Georgia is now in the danger zone. Atlanta could see significant ice. And if you remember 2014, when Atlanta got less than 3 inches of snow and the entire city shut down for a week, you understand why this forecast is alarming. We could be looking at similar or worse conditions, but with ice instead of snow. Saturday is when this storm reaches its peak intensity. That imaginary boundary where cold air meets Gulf moisture stretches from New Mexico to Virginia. Along that line, heavy precipitation falls for hours. The European model shows some areas near Little Rock and Oklahoma City receiving 12 inches of snow. Not over a few hours, but accumulated over 36 to 48 hours as the system stalls. And here's a detail that keeps getting overlooked. This isn't just about snow totals. It's about the combination. Ice accumulation makes everything worse. When half an inch of ice coats everything, then 6 inches of heavy, wet snow falls on top, the weight becomes unbearable. Power lines sag and snap. Trees that stood for 50 years come crashing down. Roofs begin to groan under the load. Sunday morning, the storm edges eastward. Ice and snow spread into the mid-Atlantic. Virginia, Maryland, the Carolinas. This is where cold air damming comes into play. It's a phenomenon where cold air gets trapped against the Appalachian Mountains, unable to move. It creates an ice factory. Even as temperatures rise just a few miles to the west, areas along the mountains stay below freezing, with rain from above freezing into ice on contact. Let me share something personal here. As someone who's tracked severe weather for years, I've seen storms that looked bad on paper fizzle out. I've also seen storms that looked modest on paper exceed all expectations. This one, every instinct, every data point, every model run says this is real. This is significant. This requires preparation. And preparation doesn't mean panic. It means wisdom. Proverbs 22:3 tells us, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." There's wisdom in heeding warnings. There's wisdom in preparing your household. Not out of fear, but out of responsibility. So, what does preparation look like practically? Let's walk through this step by step. First, assess your power situation. If you have a generator, test it now. Not Friday morning when everyone's buying gas. Now, make sure you have enough fuel to run it for 3 to 4 days. If you don't have a generator, identify which room in your home retains heat best. That's your safe room if power goes out. Second, water. Frozen pipes are a hidden disaster within the disaster. When temperatures drop below 20 degrees for extended periods, pipes freeze. When they thaw, they burst. Run a small trickle of water from faucets Friday night through the weekend. It prevents freezing. Open cabinet doors under sinks so warm air circulates around pipes. These small actions prevent thousands of dollars in damage. Third, food and medication. You don't need a month's supply, but you do need 3 to 4 days of non-perishable food. Things that don't require cooking if power goes out. Peanut butter, crackers, canned goods, bottled water. Check medications. Do you have enough to last through next week if you can't get to the pharmacy? If not, call your pharmacy today. Get refills early. Fourth, communication. Charge everything. Your phone, your tablet, that old phone in the drawer you haven't used in 2 years. Charge it. If cell towers go down, having multiple charge devices increases your odds of getting a message out. Consider a portable battery bank. They're inexpensive and can recharge your phone 4 or 5 times. Fifth, and this is crucial, check on others. Your elderly neighbor, do they know this is coming? Do they have food, medication, a way to stay warm? The young family down the street, do they have batteries for flashlights? Sometimes the most important preparation isn't just for ourselves. It's looking out for our community. It's living out Matthew 25:40. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Now, let's talk about the forecast in more detail, because you deserve to understand what's coming. The probability of at least 1 inch of snow is over 90% from New Mexico through Oklahoma, Kansas, Tennessee, and into Virginia. 1 inch of snow, while not severe for northern states, creates hazardous travel in southern states where road treatment is limited. But here's where it escalates. The probability of more than 6 inches of snow is now 70 to 80% for Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Fayetteville, Arkansas. That jumps to over 80% for southern Virginia, southern Maryland, and southern Delaware. 6 inches of snow in these regions effectively shuts down commerce. Schools close, businesses close, roads become impassable, and we haven't even discussed the ice yet. Ice accumulation forecasts show a band of significant icing from Dallas-Fort Worth through Texarkana, extending east into Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and into the Carolinas and Georgia. Remember what I said earlier. 1/4 inch of ice creates hazardous conditions. 1/2 inch brings down trees and power lines. 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch causes widespread infrastructure failure. Current forecast models show potential ice accumulations between 1/2 inch and 1¼ inches across this entire corridor. If that verifies, we're looking at one of the most significant ice storms in a decade for the southern United States. Power outages lasting multiple days are not just possible, they're probable. Let me put this in historical context. In February 2011, a similar storm pattern developed. Arctic air surged south. Gulf moisture collided with it. Ice accumulated across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Over 3 million people lost power, some for more than a week. Roadways were closed for 5 days. Economic losses exceeded $2 billion. And that storm was less intense than what current models are forecasting for this weekend. In January 2014, the South saw another ice event. Smaller in scope, but devastating nonetheless. Atlanta saw less than 3 inches of snow, yet the city paralyzed. Thousands of cars abandoned on highways. People sleeping in grocery stores and schools because they couldn't get home. It took nearly a week for normalcy to return. Now imagine that scenario, but with ice instead of snow, affecting not just Atlanta, but Dallas, Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, and Charlotte simultaneously. Here's a question I want you to consider. When was the last time you experienced a multi-day power outage in winter? If you haven't, it's hard to grasp how quickly things become difficult. The first few hours, it's almost novel. Candles lit, everyone gathered in one room, telling stories. But by hour 12, the house is cold. Really cold. By day 2, food in the refrigerator is spoiling. By day 3, if temperatures are in the teens and 20s outside, interior temperatures might drop to 40 degrees or below. That's when pipes freeze. That's when health issues emerge, especially for the elderly or very young. I'm not sharing this to frighten you. I'm sharing this so you understand the stakes. So you take this seriously. So you prepare adequately. Because preparation transforms a potential crisis into a manageable situation. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why do these forecasts matter if they could change? It's a fair question. Long-range forecasts, anything beyond 3 days, carry uncertainty. Models can shift. The storm could track slightly north or south, changing who gets snow versus ice. Intensity could be stronger or weaker than currently modeled. These are all valid uncertainties. But here's what's not uncertain. A major winter storm is coming. The ingredients are present. Arctic air, Gulf moisture, blocking pattern. All confirmed. The timing is locked in. Friday through Sunday. Possibly Monday. What remains uncertain is the precise location of the heaviest snow and ice. But even if the storm tracks 100 miles north or south of current forecasts, someone is getting hit hard. The question isn't if there will be impacts. It's where will the worst impacts occur. And that's why preparation matters now. Waiting until Thursday or Friday to prepare means you're competing with everyone else. Stores run out of batteries, water, bread. Gas stations run out of fuel. It's happened before. It will happen again. The prudent prepare early. Let me walk you through the forecast timeline one more time, day by day, so you know what to expect. Wednesday, January 22nd. Light snow across the Midwest. Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit see 1 to 2 inches. Northern Plains and Upper Midwest experience extreme cold with wind chills approaching 65 below zero. This is dangerous. Life-threatening if you're not prepared. Limit outdoor exposure. Thursday, January 23rd. The quietest day of the week in terms of precipitation. But temperatures plummet across the central United States. The Arctic high pressure settles in. Temperatures in Oklahoma City drop to the teens. Dallas might reach freezing by evening. Further north, Minneapolis sees actual temperatures of 20 below zero, wind chills near 65 below. This is when that cold air mass positions itself for Friday's storm. Friday, January 24th. This is the day. Freezing rain and snow begin Friday afternoon across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas. By Friday evening, heavy freezing rain develops from Dallas to Amarillo to central Mississippi. Overnight Friday into Saturday, this precipitation intensifies. Heavy freezing rain continues. Significant snow accumulates in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Power outages begin as ice accumulates on lines and trees. Saturday, January 25th. The storm's peak. Freezing rain continues across much of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Snow falls heavily from Oklahoma through Tennessee and Kentucky. Some areas could see snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. Ice accumulation reaches critical levels, half an inch to over 1 inch in the hardest hit areas. Widespread power outages likely. Travel impossible across multiple states. Sunday, January 26th. The storm slowly shifts east. Ice and snow spread into Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia. Cold air damming creates an ice storm along the Appalachian foothills. Snow continues in Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland. The storm's slow movement means precipitation continues for hours longer than typical winter storms. Monday, January 27th. Lingering impacts across the East Coast. Possible snow in the Northeast. But the bigger story is the aftermath. Millions potentially without power. Roads impassable. Cleanup and recovery beginning, but hampered by continued cold temperatures. Now, here's the 5-minute promise I made at the beginning. Why is this storm so dangerous compared to others? It comes down to 3 factors: duration, intensity, and location. Duration. Most winter storms are quick-hitting. They move through in 24 to 36 hours. This storm stalls for 3 to 4 days. Every additional hour of freezing rain adds more ice. Every additional hour of snow adds more accumulation. Time is the multiplier that turns a manageable event into a crisis. Intensity. The combination of Arctic air and Gulf moisture creates explosive precipitation rates. We're not talking about light snow or drizzle freezing. We're talking about heavy snow and freezing rain falling simultaneously across a broad area. The European model shows snowfall rates exceeding 1 inch per hour in some locations. That's blizzard-level intensity, but with ice mixed in. Location. This storm targets the south and southeast, regions with limited winter weather infrastructure. Oklahoma City has fewer snowplows than Minneapolis. Dallas has less road salt inventory than Chicago. When northern cities get a foot of snow, life continues with minor disruptions. When southern cities get a foot of snow, society grinds to a halt. Add in ice, and you have a recipe for widespread, prolonged impacts. But here's something I want to emphasize. This storm, as severe as it may be, is also an opportunity to come together as communities, to check on neighbors, to share resources, to help those who are vulnerable. James 2:14 through 17 reminds us that faith without action is dead. Knowing a storm is coming is one thing. Preparing and helping others prepare is faith in action. I think about the parable of the wise and foolish builders. One built his house on rock. When storms came, it stood firm. The other built on sand. When storms came, it collapsed. The difference wasn't the storm. Both faced the same storm. The difference was the foundation, the preparation, the wisdom to build with future challenges in mind. This winter storm is a test of our foundations. Not just physical foundations, but community foundations. How we respond reveals who we are. Do we panic? Or do we prepare? Do we hoard? Or do we share? Do we isolate? Or do we reach out? Here's my challenge to you. Before Friday arrives, do 3 things. First, prepare your household. Go through that checklist we discussed. Generator, water, food, medications, charge devices. Second, check on 3 people. A neighbor, a friend, a family member. Make sure they know what's coming and that they're ready. Third, pray. Pray for safety, for wisdom, for those who will be working through this storm. Emergency responders, power line workers, transportation crews, They'll be out in dangerous conditions, keeping essential services running. And here's something to remember. After the storm passes, after the power returns, after the roads clear, life will return to normal. This isn't the end of the world. It's a significant weather event that requires our attention and preparation. We've been through challenges before. We'll get through this one. The key is approaching it with wisdom, preparation, and community spirit. In closing, let me leave you with this. Weather, for all its power, is temporary. Storms come and storms go. What remains is how we respond, how we care for each other, how we demonstrate resilience and faith in the face of challenges. This storm is coming. That's not in question. But we're not powerless. We're not helpless. We have time to prepare. We have the information we need. We have each other. The next 72 hours will bring difficult weather, but they'll also bring opportunities. Opportunities to show strength, compassion, and community. To live out the values we hold dear, to be the light in someone's darkness, literally and figuratively. So take this seriously. Prepare well, help others, and know that we'll get through this together. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll talk again soon with updated forecasts as this storm continues to develop.